Good morning, first graders. Happy Monday and happy snow. Oh my goodness, so much snow. I'm loving it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping by. And I thought I could read you a story today called Groundhog's Runaway Shadow. Okay. And we're talking about groundhogs because tomorrow is Groundhog's Day. And you're going to learn more about it in Miss Haller's room as well. But tomorrow's the day, it's kind of a silly holiday, but where the groundhog, this famous groundhog in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, is going to crawl out of its hole. And if he sees his shadow, he's going to run back into his little air and into his hole. And we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. That's what they say. But if he doesn't see his shadow and he stays out and about and he's not afraid, then they say that it could be an early spring. Now, that's not at all set in stone. That means that's not it's all fact, right? We don't really rely on the weather from a groundhog, okay? But it's a fun kind of holiday and it's been a long tradition. And for that tradition, in our room right here, you can click that little groundhog. After you're done listening to me, you can click that little groundhog and it's going to be a way to vote. Do you remember when we voted for the pigeon books? Back in November, right? You had to pick between the pigeon needs a bath or pigeon wants a puppy, and you get to decide. So I want you to just think, do you think the groundhog will see his shadow or not see his shadow? It's just a fun guess, right? It's just like predicting right there. There's some of us might be right, some of us might be wrong. We don't know. It's just fun to predict, okay? So you can take a vote and you can click there and that's all you have to do. And then tomorrow, I'll let you know what we all thought, what we all voted on, and what actually happened for Groundhog's Day. Okay, so now for Groundhog's Runaway Shadow here by David Bedrisky, maybe. I think that's the best I could do. I'm going to have you today help me decide what the problem is and the solution in this story. Do you remember what that meant? The problem, what needs to be fixed, and the solution is how it gets fixed. There's going to be a problem in this story. Okay. So a little back right here kind of tells us a little bit. We can almost predict what the problem's going to be. It says, we all have shadows. They follow our every move. But what if one day yours decided not to? Your mind's spinning a little bit. What could maybe be the problem? Yeah, so here we go. Groundhog's Runaway Shadow. The only thing, here, let's turn my computer a little bit. The only thing that could keep up with little Phil Groundhog was his shadow, no matter how fast he ran. Right, there's his shadow right by him. Or how high he jumped, his shadow followed his every move. Whether he laughed, there's a shadow laughing with him. Or he cried, the shadow's crying with them. His shadow was always right there beside him, even when Phil felt small. His shadow could make him feel bigger. Pretty hippos out, walking with gorillas down my street. That's what the groundhog sang, not just me randomly singing that song. Anyway, but everyone grows up. You can't really tell right there, but it says Punxsutawney. Like we live in Riverside, right? This is where this groundhog's were, and that's where the famous groundhog is, where the tradition started for the holiday in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. So he's saying, but everyone grows up, even groundhogs and their shadows. So there he's a kid, he's an older kid, then maybe he's in high school, and then he's graduating. Now he's a grown-up. Grown-up groundhogs are expected to act a certain way, but Phil's shadow had other plans. I don't know if you can look here. Here's grown-up Phil, right? And there's his shadow, right? He's like, I'm playing our music. Come on, man. What are you doing, right? And he's like, I gotta go to work. Phil's idea of the perfect vacation was taking the bus to a local beach. Shadow dreamed of visiting faraway places. Phil loved scary movies. Shadows, not so much. Shadow's like, this is too scary. But as the grown-up, he's like, I like this. Phil enjoyed eating dandelions, clover, and tree bark. Shadow craved something spicy. Phil liked to be on time. Shadow liked to stop and smell the roses. Well, that's okay. So do you feel like a problem's kind of happening here? Yeah. The adult groundhog, right, Phil? He likes to do things, and the other one's kind of doing the opposite. His shadow kind of wants to be more silly and laid back and kind of still be like a kid. And he's like, I got things to do, right? They're starting to do things differently. First, Phil found Sheller's behavior amusing, but a little off-key. There he is. He's like kind of playing his music. Phil's friends found it amazing and a little gross. Burp. His shadow does a big burp there. Soon, it got annoying. And then downright embarrassing. Be you! So it looks like the shadow tooted, but they blamed Phil. Phil had enough. Why can't you be like other shadows? I wish you would just go away. Okay, so Phil kind of said, go away, Shadow. Shadow was crushed. He got angry, but then he thought about it. Phil said he should go away, and he had always wanted to travel. So there's the Shadow thinking. So that night, he goes, he's packing his bag. And the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. Whoa, look where Shadow is right now. But he's not with Phil, right? Back at home, Phil tried everything to find his shadow. Oh, Shadow, where are you? Well, Phil, you yelled at the shadow and said, why don't you just go away? So the shadow listened, right? Yeah, we got a problem. Maybe Phil wants his shadow back. He posted signs. Lost. Have you seen my shadow? If found, keep shadow out of shade and call this number immediately. He used the newspaper. Groundhog seeks shadow. He's looking for a shadow. Then he saw Shadow making news. Mysterious shadow seen at the Eiffel Tower. There's his shadow. And without him, so he's making news without him. Shadow to star in movie. Shadow meets Queen. Shadow rocks White House. Shadow is traveling. Suddenly, Phil's life seemed pretty dull. That means like boring. He longed to be exploring with Shadow. Halfway around the world, Shadow realized something was missing. He had no one to share his adventures with. Okay, so here's that problem, right? At first, he was like, go away. Phil was like, get away from me, Shadow, right? You go do you. But now, what's happening? Yeah, I think they miss each other, right? They've been together for their whole lives. I think they're missing each other. How is it going to get fixed? How do you think he can get him back? He can't find it. The thought of searching for Shadow scared Phil. He'd have to travel far and wide. But the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. Okay, maybe to solve this problem, Phil's like, I'm going to go travel places to go find my shadow. That could be pretty tough. He searched, shadow, 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 and searched, shadow, and searched some more. Finally, when he could search no longer, he had an idea. Wonder what his idea is going to be, because he tried to fix this problem. He tried to go search and look for him, but that wasn't solving it, right? 6. Click. He began to play. And when he did, he heard someone gently accompanying him. Right? Shadow loved to play music, right? That's all he wanted to play around and do those things. And so Phil started to do that. Two friends played together, this time in perfect harmony. And the next morning and a couple of days later and forever after, that's exactly what they did. No. The way to solve his problem, he's like, I just got to play music and my shadow's going to come right back to me. Except sometimes on February 2nd. Shadow? February 2nd is tomorrow, right? So this story was saying how the shadow was always best friends with Groundhog, always with them, but occasionally, sometimes on February 2nd, he's not, right? And that's what we're going to vote on. Okay, so here's our Punxsutawney Phil Groundhog, right? Do you think tomorrow he will see his shadow and get scared and we'll get more winter? Or you think he won't see his shadow and maybe there'll be an early spring, right? What do you think? All right, so this is when, once you're done out of me, right, you can go click that Groundhog in there and you can take a vote. Just take a vote, whatever one you feel. Hey, sometimes I'm like, hey, I kind of want an early spring. I'm going to say he's not going to see the shadow, right? Whatever you want to do. Click that, click the vote, and I'll tell you the results tomorrow, okay? So I'll tell you what we all thought and then what actually happened with the Groundhog, what he actually saw or not saw. Okay, all right. Have a great day. I hope you get to go outside in the snow and have fun and play like a kid, okay? So have lots of fun. All right, bye.